So Patrick, 2008 alum, this is his baby, right? So we appreciate you letting us in and being a part of it. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually a double Bobcat. I graduated undergraduate in 2006 and then stuck around for 2 more years and took Dr. Lawrence classes and then left in 2008 to move down to Charlotte. So we've got kind of the continuum. We've got alumni. We also have, I'm really excited to introduce Brandon DiLorenzo, who's a current student.
Hey, Brandon.
Hi,
Brandon.
Good to see y'all.
He is a great representation of what we want Ohio University sports management students to be. He is patient and persistent. I know a lot of things are going to come up over the course of this camp, and one of them is networking. Brandon is networking personified. So he had moved to Charlotte for an internship with the Hornets back in like February, March. It's been a busy, crazy 2020, as you all know. So he reached out to me 3 or 4 times. I wasn't like giving him the Heisman, but I was just kind of like forgetting about Brandon. And he kept at it. And literally probably about 4 weeks ago said, hey, do you need any help with that camp? And I was like, we do. And he's been really invaluable to us. So I know there's a number of prospective OU students, but it's great to have the perspective of faculty at OU, alumni at OU, and current student
That's great.
at OU. And Brandon's obviously here to answer any questions. So Jim, I'm going to step away now that everyone's here and let you take over. You can kick it to me for questions or thoughts or whatever, but I want to thank all of our attendees for joining. Dan and Avery, it's a high school. It's Sports Business 101 for high school kids. So it's basically helping them understand career opportunities before they get to college. So most of our students are in high school, mostly freshman, sophomore, junior, and trying to help them understand various pathways before they decide to go off to college. And obviously they'd be well served to go to OU. If I haven't specifically stated it, I'm a proud Bobcat alumnus. So this is not a impartial panel by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, I think we wanted to make sure we gave you guys a platform to talk about how OU is a great experience for you, is a great experience for prospective students, and how it could help launch a career in sports. So with that, I'm going to step away, Jim, and let you lead the charge, but I'll be on mute. And if there's anything I can do to help, let me know.
Sounds good. Are we going live, or are we already live with everybody?
We're all live, and we are recording as well. You look great. It's looks like a winter background. Just so you know, guys, Athens is beautiful, much more pretty in the summer and the fall, but it's still a beautiful part of the country.
Yes, it is. Well, we appreciate it, Patrick, and thank you for having us. My name is Jim Strode. I am the chair and an associate professor here at Ohio University, and we have assembled an amazing panel for you all today. And again, thank you, Patrick, for creating this wonderful platform. I wish I had the opportunity that all the high school students are having in the room today. When I was back in high school, I went to business camps. There was not a sports-specific one, but we've evolved, and this is an amazing opportunity. So thank you for letting us be a part of this. We have 3 special guests with us here today. Our first guest is one of our faculty. She is a professor here. She's been at Ohio University since 2005, and most recently also served as Associate Dean of the College of Business. She also has a ton of experience prior to joining the Academy. She worked in college athletics, formerly at Southeastern Louisiana, as well as the University of Florida, her undergraduate alma mater, the Gator Chomp there, and she's doing some awesome and amazing research. So I want to introduce everybody to Dr. Heather Lawrence Benedict.
Hi, everybody. Jim, do you want us to talk a little bit at this point? Or are you going to run through intros?
Sure, you can go ahead and talk a little bit about yourself here, and then we'll move on to the next panelist.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction, and I'm so thrilled to be with these panelists and have a chance to engage with all of you that are attending today. So thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us. One of the things that just has made my career, one of which I have no regrets coming to Ohio University, is the quality of our faculty and our students and our alums, everybody we get to interact with. Specifically, something that's incredibly special about our team is that all of our faculty have industry experience. They've worked in the sport industry. And there are definitely a lot of great sport management programs around the United States and around the world. I think one of the things that is so cool is our access to industry executives, because our faculty have worked in the business. Just this week alone, it's only Thursday, I have already had conversations with somebody that did all the broadcasting for the EMLS Cup eSport tournament, 2 co-owners of a major event management company, somebody at USA Wrestling that is begging us to bring students to their office next time we're in the area, and then also the president of a sports security firm that I've got lined up for class next week. So really, really cool access, and you know, something that we pride ourselves on with respect to letting our students engage with folks like that on a daily basis. So thanks, Jim.
Looks like you may be having some technical difficulties. Avery, if you want to share a little bit about your experiences at OU and what you've got lined up post-grad.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey everyone, my name is Avery Babel. So I'm actually a recent grad. So graduated this year in 2020 in May, and actually going to be working with the Milwaukee Bucks here. Especially with everything that's going on, it's an exciting opportunity. And to kind of really echo what Dr. Lawrence was talking about, OU is full of incredible experiences. I actually worked with the Milwaukee Bucks last summer, working in ticket sales with their team, and actually was hired on full time just a few months after that. It's been a great opportunity. It's one thing I've done more recently. I've been able to do so many other different things. So just as Dr. Lawrence was talking about with, working with different teams and organizations, that's probably my favorite part so far. We've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff for just a lot of different people and working on different projects that aren't just something that's put together because they're just looking to, see what might be a cool idea. They actually have real problems that they're looking for us to help fix and give our input on and do some great research. And I'm sure we'll get into a lot of that later, but I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to answer some questions and kind of share my perspective as somebody who is, just gotten finished, graduated from Ohio University and started to move forward in my career in sport.
All right, while we're waiting for Jim to reconnect, Dan, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about your experiences with OU. Oh, he seems to be back.
He's getting reconnected. Welcome to the Zoom world, everybody. And that's the whole thing about the sports business. We all have to deal with adversity and come up with the solutions to challenges. And this is one that shows you what's great about Ohio U. That's one of the things you learn throughout this program is how to deal with the challenges that face you and come out ahead. But my name is Dan Butterly. I am the new commissioner at the Big West Conference. Just have been in the seat here now for 16 days. Previously, I was the senior associate commissioner at the Mountain West Conference, helped form that conference back in 1999, and previous to that at the Missouri Valley Conference. I actually am a PMSA, professional MSA graduate of Ohio University, part of the second cohort that was a part of that program. I was very honored to have Dr. Heather Lawrence Benedict as one of my professors and now serves as one of my mentors in many, many ways from Ohio University. So honored to be a Bobcat, and so much so that my daughter Jessica is now an undergraduate in sports management at Ohio U as well. So excited to be here today.
So I'm back. Thank you very much for doing your bios for me. I definitely appreciate that. So I guess let's talk a little bit about, we'll start with just what sport management is as a degree, because a common question that I get whenever I meet with prospective undergraduate students is, why sport management? Why not just get a degree in management or marketing and get a minor in sport? Or so really, I'm going to start with you, Dr. Lawrence. Tell us a little bit about why sport management, or what sport management is as a degree, and why, here at Ohio University with it in the College of Business, why does that matter?
Thanks, Jim. So sport management overall is this amazing mix of core business concepts that come to life through the operations of what you see as the end product in sport, whether it is a 5K race that you've entered, whether it is the Olympic Games, and now whether it's something like eSport. Those business concepts that you gain through a College of Business education and then apply to the sport industry really make it unique. And it's just not enough to be a sports fan anymore. It's just not. To be successful in this field, you have to have business acumen, and you have to be willing to use those business concepts to help companies grow their bottom line, grow their revenue, and at the same time provide these awesome experiences for our spectators, fans, and participants.
Thank you. Avery, would you say that your experience at OU in sport management helped prepare you for this next step?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I was kind of talking about before, I mean, sport is something that's really incredible to be a part of. I think now with everything going on in the world, we're realizing how powerful it truly is. But it also is a business, and there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that you have to learn about. And OU's done an incredible job of that. So through my own internship experiences off campus that, I was able to get because of the connections and networking that we did with all the professors and faculty, to, just things we're talking about in class. So talking about things that I didn't even myself, we look at sports, and at least for me going into college, I was looking at sports as, oh, this is something that's really fun. I know there's a business side to it, but I don't really know what that means. But starting to learn about things such as broadcasting, broadcasting rights, those business deals, looking at how tickets work, how marketing works, and how there's a whole landscape to how everything, goes about and is put together. I definitely learned a lot about that at OU. And the best part about it for me is there was conversations, everyone always has questions asking, okay, well, why do some teams do this when other organizations do this? And being able to have those real examples of why they do those things.
That's great. We're going to get back to that real world example piece in a little bit.
Yep.
Dan, coming back to Ohio University in 2013, why did you pick a master's in sport, and why'd you pick OU?
Well, obviously, it's the #1 program in the world. I mean, that's the great thing about Ohio U, and that's one of the benefits of the undergraduate program is you're working with the graduate programs as well, which ranks so highly, both on the MSA and PMSA side. Obviously, I was already in my career field. I'd been in the sports management phase of my career for 18 years and just did not have that master's degree. I knew if I ever wanted to be a commissioner or wanted to advance to that top level position in this field, I needed to get that advanced degree. So I started considering as we were coming out of the recession back in 2008, 2009 time period. I'm like, boy, a lot of these students out here are getting that advanced degree. How can I keep myself competitive? And lo and behold, I learned more about the Pro MSA program at Ohio U, knew it was the top program out there. A lot of the people that I work with in this business, there's I think now 4 commissioners that are Ohio U grads that I said, boy, if Ohio U's got this opportunity, I can keep my full-time job and be able to do this degree. Why wouldn't I do this? And I was fortunate enough to be accepted and excel in the program.
And I'm sure that everybody in the audience is understanding and seeing that we get exceptional raw material, right? And Avery and Dan, I mean, we get amazing students that come to us in Athens, and Brandon's nodding his head to one of our current students who's on the line helping out. So Heather, can you talk a little bit about, the opportunities? And I know you've forged so many wonderful opportunities for our students, whether it's experiential learning and, some of the research opportunities. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, I can, but I'm going to start by reminding Dan of something that he went through while he was in the professional MSA program, because it actually speaks to this. So Dan was incredibly unique, and it wasn't as smooth as he makes it out to seem right now, because Dan was also serving as the tournament director for the NCAA women's basketball Final Four, while he was in a basically more than half-time graduate program. And it was insane. Dan was completing his work at 2 or 3 a.m. I think he probably called me on Christmas Eve, making sure I could get him things ahead of time. But what happens, right, is somebody like Dan has an opportunity as tournament director for the women's Final Four. And then he came back and 6 months later and presented that as an event management case study for all of our students. And so we are very lucky, like Dr. Strode suggested, with the students and alums we interact with, but we're also very intentional about, developing people along the way. Dan's an incredibly talented person, and he was already well along in his career, but he also used the opportunity in school to push himself even further. And so that's what we do with some of the experiential opportunities. I mentioned, Colorado Springs, the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee has opportunities for our students to visit that. We have students that work the Super Bowl each year. I this week got an update on Kentucky Derby experiential opportunities for our students off-site. And then in addition to that, the College of Business overall runs global consulting programs. And so we have a sport management opportunity in Germany where our students can go study over there, collaborate with students in Germany and work with sport entities. But even non-sport opportunities, it's just as important to see other parts of the world once we're allowed to travel again and take advantage of those non-sport experiences that you can then leverage into your own sport career. Because there are definitely other industries that are doing things differently and maybe a little bit better than sport. And so if you can take that opportunity and go shine in front of your first boss, it can't do anything but help you.
Yeah, great point. And certainly, it's there if you want it for our students. And as I pivot here to Avery, I've known Avery now for just a year, but everything I've heard about Avery when he came to us as a freshman from Hoban is that he hit the ground running, right? He went out, he shook hands, he met people, he knew exactly what his plan was going to be, and he racked up experiences. So Avery, let's talk a little bit about your experiences outside of the classroom that OU helped you attain, and honestly, you helped yourself attain.
Yeah, so it's interesting as Dr. Lawrence was talking about some of those experiences. I've done about all of those except the Global Consulting Project. So everything from helping out at the Kentucky Derby, kind of getting my hands dirty, helping people, directing people with, all of the amount of people that are at Churchill Downs is incredible. And then being able to work at the United States Olympic and Paralympic Training Center for 6 months was incredible. So right after an Olympic year and getting a chance to, see what it's like to, be a part of an Olympic organization where, sometimes it's completely different working as a nonprofit versus a professional team. So being able to get that experience was incredible. It's almost like there's so many things that are out there for you to do. You kind of have to pick and choose which ones are going to fit, which is a great position, to be in. There was, I think the thing that really I was able to do my freshman year that was awesome was I was able to join a case competition. And it was when we went to the University of South Carolina, where about 8 other universities were there and competing and working on a case. And so what was great was the program was awesome in a sense where they allowed, it wasn't just, okay, let's get all the juniors and seniors that we can to go on this trip to present. It was actually myself as a freshman, 2 other freshmen, and a sophomore. And it was, hey, go present. You guys have a week. We got the case on a Wednesday and presented on the following Wednesday at the University of South Carolina. And we're going up against, again, 8 other universities where you have their junior and senior teams. Some actually have a few grad students. They're bringing alternates. There's all these things. So you have a freshman who at the time was just learning how to use Excel, interestingly enough. And I have all these data files. I have no idea what I'm doing, but over time, understanding how to use those skills that I was learning in the classroom at the same time, and being able to put together a presentation where we actually won and beat all of the other universities and went back the next year, which was just a different opportunity, being able to look at a real world issue that is going on and being able to say, hey, as a team, what do we all bring to the table? How can we figure out how to answer this question, but answer it with facts and why we're going this direction? So I think all of that was awesome. And that was just as a freshman. So being able to take those experiences and continue to add them on to everything else that I was able to do, I think was incredible. And that's the best experience you can get, is when you can get your hands on it and see, what to do right, and find out, all of us, I'm sure, maybe not how to do things, but I think that's the best way to go about it. And OU definitely has a lot of opportunities to do that.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Avery. I want to shift to the college selection process, because I know that we have not only some students, but possibly some parents who are listening or will listen to this recording. So I'll start with you, Dan. Take your sport commissioner hat off and put your dad hat on. When your daughter, Jessica, who's now going to be a sophomore for us, was looking at schools, can you walk us through the process? And Avery, be ready, because I'm going to be shifting to you on this question as well. So Dan, can you speak about the college selection process?
Absolutely. And obviously I work in the college sports industry. So I took Jessica on a number of trips throughout my career, throughout her life, that she could visit college campuses, whether that was in the Mountain West or, we'd go to a bowl game or do those type of things. We always took advantage of those opportunities to go look at college campuses, to tour and learn more about college campuses. We went to UCLA. We've been to some beautiful places. And I had the opportunity a few years back to come out to Ohio U, and I asked Jess, my daughter and my wife, if they wanted to join me, and they did. And Jessica came onto the Ohio U campus and just automatically knew it was for her. Just loved the feeling of the campus, the look of the campus, all the people that she met. They made her feel like a family member as soon as she arrived. And that's not only just for that visit, but it's been that way since she's arrived on campus. I mean, I'm living in Irvine, California, and I'm sending my daughter to Athens, Ohio, and I have no concerns whatsoever because I know she's in a very safe environment. She's with people that very, very much care about her as much as they do her education. And Avery and Heather both hit it. The experiences and the opportunities that she has at Ohio U exceed what she could have received at so many other institutions. That's really what brought her to Ohio U. She chose where she wanted to go, even though her dad got her his master's degree from Ohio U and has extolled the virtues of being an Ohio U grad. She could choose whatever institution, whatever campus she wanted to go to. And she knew as soon as she came on to the Ohio U campus there in Athens, she fell in love with it and actually surprised us. A senior night at football, she was a cheerleader at our previous residence in Colorado Springs. She was a cheerleader at high school. And on the PA announcement during her senior recognition during the last football game, she told us on the field that she was going to Ohio U. And that was an emotional moment for me because I didn't anticipate that's where she would want to go. But she was so excited to tell us that that's where she was choosing to go because of what she experienced once she got on campus.
That's great. And like Avery, Jessica's hit the ground running her freshman year, doing so many wonderful experiences, taking advantage of all that Athens and Sport Ad here have to offer. So you have a lot to be proud of, Dan.
I appreciate that. And you're right, Jim. I mean, she literally knew that she wanted to be involved with hockey in some way. She loves social media. And there was an ad in the paper or somewhere in Athens that they were looking for a social media intern with the hockey program. She called and asked, she said, "What should I do?" And I said, "Jess, the worst that can happen is that you apply and they say, no, you're a freshman. There's so many great students on that campus." And she applied, she went and interviewed for the position. And before she walked out the door, she got the opportunity. So again, those opportunities exist at Ohio that may not exist at a lot of campuses, particularly for undergraduates, even with the MSAs and the Masters of Sports Administration students on campus. There's a lot of great opportunities for undergraduates to get that experience that's missing. And I think Heather talked about it earlier relative to why do you get a sports management degree rather than just a business degree. It's because the sports industry is so vast and so different compared to a business opportunity. And there's so many applicants that I'll see that apply for positions that have a business degree. And I think Heather said it, that they're a sports fan. Well, a sports fan doesn't do anything to get you an opportunity. You really have to get that experience while you're on campus, and Ohio U offers not only the unbelievably great degree in the business, in the College of Business, but also all that experience you want to get.
That's great. That's great. Avery, walk us through your process.
Yeah. For me, coming out of Hoban and Akron, Ohio as a senior, it was interesting. I've always been a sport fan, but in high school, I knew I wanted to work in sport because I loved working behind the scenes. So I was a team manager for our basketball team all 4 years. I helped out in the athletic office with our AD at the time, who Jim actually found out we had a mutual connection there. That's
Mighty Joe Byers.
Yep, he's incredible. Taught me a lot of what I know now, that's for sure, just as far as like getting started and knowing what to do. But when I came to Ohio University, I knew, when I was visiting, actually, I knew I wanted to work in sport. I knew I wanted to do business. I wanted to do the business side of sport, just putting those two together. Interestingly enough, for the parents that are out there that may be listening, my mom had no idea what sport management was. She was just like, okay, well, you seem really passionate about it, so let's go to one of the visit days and see what this is about. And it was great because we got a chance to sit down with a professor and actually look at what the program is about and really go through like a step-by-step process of like, here's how we can help develop you to getting not only your degree, but getting that opportunity that you're really looking for, where, not only here's where all of our alumni have gone, but how you can, use your network and get the experiences that you want to get where it is you're trying to go in sport, and really just year by year mapped it out. So my mom had a chance to really see what my job actually would be, because she really wasn't sure what that looked like. But she was like, okay, I 100% understand this now, and I get why you want to be here. Not only is this the best, university and program, both for undergrad and graduate level, of just resources and experience and just the network. But, you have the opportunities to, make what you want with all of the opportunities. And for me, what sealed the deal on Ohio University for me is the people at the end of the day. I always make any decision to this day to the people, because the people are the most important. If, as a student being at Ohio University, everyone was always doing what they could to help me out, be it, how to write an email to an alumni that I'm trying to reach out to. Something as simple as that, where you don't really know how to do that until you can sit down with someone and have that explained. So things like that were super helpful. But also for me, it's people are very prideful about Ohio University. And that was, I think, the final thing that really sealed it for me. And it's really the whole university in general, but sports particularly. I mean, I've met so many incredible Bobcats that probably outside of where they work, the second thing they're going to tell you is that they went to Ohio University, and they're super proud of it. And that's something I wanted to be a part of. And as I've, continued to move forward in my own journey, I've been able to experience that, incredibly, especially, when I was out in Colorado Springs, I was on a conference call. I'm not sure if you remember, Dan, but I was on a conference call with my boss at the time, trying to figure out a potential basketball tournament. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm actually an Ohio University student here, out here doing some work. He's like, really? I've actually graduated from OU. And then from there, it's, it's kind of how we got to this point. But for me, it's all of the opportunities. It's just how everything is built, but it's also the student in mind of how can we get you experience and how can we intertwine that with the learning. And I think that for me was the biggest part of why I decided to choose Ohio University.
That's great.
Jim, to expand on what Avery just said too, I mean, there's two things here that, particularly when you talk to Ohio U people and people in the business, in the sports business, I have heard Ohio U's sports administration program being referred to as the Hogwarts School of Sports Administration. So some parents may appreciate that one. And then also, it's an unwritten rule that if you're an Ohio U grad, that you accept calls, emails, you respond to those that are Ohio U grads as well. And I've kept that for any undergrad student, any graduate student, any former alum that indicates, hey, I'm from Ohio U, I want to introduce myself. Can I have a few minutes? And I've generally spent 30 minutes. I always thought it was an Ohio U thing that calls go no later than 30 minutes because it seems like every call takes about 30 minutes. But it's just great conversations. And that's what the alumni network does for each other in Ohio U. And that's what makes this program so strong, is that alumni network. And that's one thing that almost every program out there can attest to, that Ohio U network is fantastic and it's strong, particularly in the sports administration side of the business.
Yeah, both you and Avery hit some very important points about our program, and that's the fact that there's something in the water down here in Athens, Ohio, where our students they continually give back. And shameless plug right here. You probably can't see it with the screen there, but this is the vaulted alumni directory, right? So this is a thing of lore for those people that are looking at Ohio University. Our over 1,000 active living alum are featured, in this book, and we have alum all over the place doing amazing things, from being, entrepreneurial to running their own sport organizations, in the professional, the international, the college space. Dan, I think you mentioned before, 4 current Bobcats are commissioners, college commissioners. I know right now that we have the most Division I NCAA athletic directors in the country that are Bobcats. We actually have 3 Bobcats who are athletic directors in the Pac-12 alone. So, and these, everybody is so accessible, so I completely agree, Dan, that it is an obligation, but a welcome obligation for Bobcats to pick up the phone for our students.
Well, and Jim, we're taking over California. I mean, Martin Germond at UCLA just started. Mike Bone at USC just started. I just started at the Big West Conference. Obviously, Bernard Muir up at Stanford. So we're just looking to take over California for Ohio. It's a good thing moving forward out this direction.
I like it. Look out, Cal Berkeley. Here we come.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dr. Lawrence, we spoke a little bit about the experiential learning, and you talked about the faculty. As I look at other sport management programs around the country, we're certainly one of the largest when it comes to the amount of faculty. Right now, we have 12 full-time faculty, and you hit on the experiences that our faculty bring to the table. A big piece, too, about any academic program is the active scholarship that faculty are doing. So can you speak a little bit about your scholarship or scholarship in general in the sports administration program? And then second, talk a little bit about why would an incoming freshman care about that?
Yeah, great point. Well, scholarship overall at Ohio University is so great because we have the opportunity as faculty to actually impact how the sport industry makes decisions. And they're an institution like Ohio University, and not just in sport management or not just the College of Business, is what's called a balanced institution. Our faculty are expected to spend about equivalent time on their teaching, their research, and their service to the institution, the industry. And then, of course, within all of that is having an incredibly high touch environment with our students, where our students come first no matter what. And that actually includes research, to be quite honest. So we could be in the middle of something that I think is a really important scholarly activity. And I'll tell you what, though, if Brandon or Avery emails with a problem, I am happily putting the research down to have that conversation. But from the perspective of our entire faculty, what's cool right now is with our 12 faculty, we all have very different interests. And so it's created an environment where we can collaborate together, as well as with our colleagues in the College of Business. So for instance, Dr. Strode and I do a lot of work with Dr. Fodor, who had just finished a long term as chair of the finance department, because we work in sport finance, right? And so we're able to collaborate like that and really leverage a lot of different areas of expertise. And within sport management right now, we have people working in areas that relate to diversity and inclusion, all the way through artificial intelligence in the sport industry and what's going to happen in that space. And then you throw in things like esport and very contemporary issues like the impact of COVID on these different institutions making decisions about which sports they might eliminate. I mean, we actively are working on those to try to help institutions understand the ramifications of those decisions long-term and not just in the immediate environment. And so the second part of Jim's question comes back to, why should students care? Well, the other thing that we're able to do is take that firsthand data, those conversations with our sport industry partners that we're working with, and many times it's an actual client. Right before this, I had a call with a company that is getting our clients together for an undergraduate course for the fall. And that will be a research-driven project in sport marketing for an actual company, where student groups will have the chance to compete against each other to earn the spot, to earn the chance to present live to that client and hopefully have the results of their research integrated. So research is a very broad term. It's not all incredibly boring and locked in a journal that no one's going to read. In my opinion, we make it fun. We bring it back to class. We make it real. And there's nothing better than hearing from somebody like Dan or another alum that something we did that was research-based in a class or in an academic endeavor was used to help inform a good decision or a more informed decision for some sport business. And so that's kind of how we define research, and not all institutions approach it like that.
Thank you, and that's a great answer. The reach that Ohio University has to be able to help sport organizations is vast, and you hit on a lot of those areas. So Avery, my heart goes out to you for missing half of your senior year live here in Athens because of COVID. And I know we've got some, high school seniors and juniors and sophomores that are freshmen that are questioning, their districts maybe coming back, maybe going live. But one thing that you missed out on live, but you got to do virtually in your senior capstone class, was a consulting project. You and your classmates were working with organizations in Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania, and you were planning a trip to go out there and present a consulting plan to live clients. So can you speak a little bit about your experience with that and what other things in our program and in the College of Business prepared you for that step to be able to do a real world project to real world clients as a senior?
Yeah. So my project was actually, we were helping with Duquesne and their men's basketball team. They were actually opening a new facility and just trying to figure out how to possibly help attendance and kind of identify some of the issues that they've been having, maybe comparing that as well to other teams that are in their conference that are doing well. So what was great was my specific team was working with Duquesne, but there were also other groups that were working with a multitude of other teams and universities in Pittsburgh. So what's great about that is you have all these different institutions all the way from, Duquesne Athletics to the Pittsburgh Steelers working on different projects. It's not everyone gets the same project, which I think is awesome. But what was great is we actually got a chance to have conversations and always have an open line of communication with our representative at that organization. So just to be able to ask them questions of, hey, what is it that you're exactly looking for? How can we be helpful? What are things you've tried? So we don't present you something that you've already decided that wouldn't work, which I think sometimes is the most important because you don't want to repeat the same thing. But what was great is we really had the creative freedom to say, hey, here's our problem. We're going to, based on ABC, how are you going to be able to, help us resolve that? Or how can we address that? And so we get to just kind of go on our own as a team and really build out a plan and build out things that, may work, that may not work, but also talking to our faculty and asking those questions of, here, what do you think about this? We've done this research. This is the conclusion that we've come to. You have this specific experience in marketing, or college athletics a bit more than we might. What are some resources that maybe we can start to look at? And I think just from a student perspective, being able to present or send presentations, we had to send our presentations, but how, being able to ask them those questions and have access to these people. And what's great is years past, there's been many students that have actually gotten opportunities, be it job opportunities or internships, through working with these projects. This isn't just a project that we're presenting to the professors where they would just send them to those organizations. Normally, unfortunately this year we weren't able to do it, but we would have gone to these teams and organizations and actually sat down with some of their leadership and presented our findings. So it's kind of an added pressure, but it's an exciting pressure of, we're not just building a presentation that's going to go into a folder to never be seen again, but building a presentation that can actually be put into use, which in some cases actually are with different teams in years past. So to be able to do something that is beneficial is great. But to also answer the second part of your question, one thing I really admire about Ohio University, especially the College of Business, is the emphasis on soft skills. And so for some of our participants who may not know what I mean by that, it's basically just the ability to have a conversation, the ability to give a presentation, and just to communicate. I think sometimes there are a lot of brilliant people that have great ideas, but sometimes may not be able to articulate that. And that's very, very, very important in our industry because we work with fans, we work with other businesses, but that's the whole point, is people. So being able to be comfortable to provide, to present a presentation, no matter who's in the room or how many people are in the room, but not only presenting it, but creating a presentation, how to create briefings, how to write emails, how to professionally have a phone call or be on a Zoom meeting, right? So little things like that have honestly taken me a long way myself, with different interviews that I've had or just meetings that I've been a part of. Understanding those little things from different people has been a very, very, very important factor to my development, and has definitely helped, through all the projects that I've been able to do at Ohio University so far.
Thanks, Avery. A couple points to that too. Again, emphasizing that point that you did real world projects. These are not projects that are, the appendix at the end of a textbook to a professor, but you're actually getting out in the industry. And two, to talk about those skills that you helped sharpen here at OU. We host an event every single year called the Darren Butler Sport Business Forum, where we have 30 to 40 sport employers come to our campus looking to hire Bobcats. This is unique because typically schools will just have a general career fair or maybe just a business career fair, and there might be a couple sport organizations that are there. We have an entire event dedicated for just sport management students. Avery, tell the audience how many interviews you got after the Darren Butler Sport Business Forum last year.
Yeah, so this last year, as to Jim's point, like there are a lot of great organizations that are there, and from all different spectrums, from professional sports to Olympic sport to minor league to collegiate. There's anything that you're looking for, to marketing companies. And my goal is always to try to speak to as many people as possible, because even if I may not have a career opportunity with them at the moment, you never know what can happen in sport or just in your career. But for me, I was able to actually get 7 interviews with different professional teams. And so that was a really fun process of just getting to know different people, getting to know their organizations and what it is that they do. And many of which are alumni. So it circles back to what we were talking about earlier, where there's so many Bobcats that are out there that are also actively looking to bring on more Bobcats. And also partly because, we have that pride of our school, but we also know the product that comes out of Ohio University. The amount of times I've been able to, have a great opportunity or have a conversation with someone is because, actually I'll bring in Brandon on this. So Brandon actually had an opportunity to work for an NBA team this past, actually a few months, right around, I guess, when COVID started. So I think he got cut a little bit short, but my mentor was one of the people that he worked with every day. And that was someone I had met through another MSA alum who had introduced me to him, who had introduced me to someone else, who introduced me to someone else. So it's like that never ending chain of meeting all those people. But the Darren Butler Forum is awesome. And to kind of explain it in a very clear term, like you said, it's a big career fair for sports students. It's every year, and it's kind of like Christmas Day to us, because it's really time to put all that networking knowledge to the test, to be able to go into a room to have a conversation. And I admire that it's not just for juniors and seniors. There are some places that only do career fairs for juniors and seniors, or where recruiters are only looking to speak to juniors and seniors. I went in as a freshman and was able to get an internship. There are other freshmen that have done the same thing, freshmen and sophomores. And what I think is great is it's going to be nerve-wracking that first time you go to any career fair, but to have a lot of those recruiters, excited to talk to someone who may not have any sport experience, but to say, hey, here's my card. I want you to reach out to me if you have any questions just about working in sport, just about any opportunity. Like, I want to help you get where you want to go, even if it may not be with my organization, because there's always someone, going back to what Dr. Lawrence and what Dan was saying, there's so many people that have also brought someone back up, so I'm sure all of us can think of that 1 or 2 people that have helped us get an opportunity that was a Bobcat, that have helped us, get to that next opportunity, but also thinking about how many people am I able to help out to bring up. So I've been able to do that for different people, because so many people have been able to do that for me. And that's a never ending chain that I hope continues to keep going over time.
Great answer, Avery. Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, I was just going to say, building off of what Avery was talking about, I think one of the great things about OU is that it isn't just the alums that are dedicated to helping one another. I mean, I came in as a freshman, Avery was a junior, and over his remaining time at OU, he became something of a student mentor to me. And like he was talking about, I think that's one of the great things is you can reach out to some of those upperclassmen and be like, hey, this is what I need. Do you have any advice? I'm applying for this job, writing a cover letter. Can you look over it for me? And yes, I mean, I can't understate the impact that Avery and other fellow OU students have had on my development.
That's great. Bobcats helping Bobcats. Certainly, if anybody has any questions, you can start putting them in the chat. We'll get to those. But I want to ask Dan a question. I know, Dan, you mentioned that your history in our program was through our professional master's program. We have a lot of students and a lot of parents thinking about already that next step, right? Where students are coming to college campuses with 15, 30 credit hours. Some are coming in almost at the junior year with the amount of credits that they've amassed. So graduate school is right around the corner. So can you talk a little bit about about that, maybe your experiences with graduate school, as well as things that you may tell young professionals or parents when you're looking at potentially hiring sport management students?
Absolutely, and Avery hit on a number of topics relative to that. I mean, the great thing about the Ohio U program is it's a dual degree program, so you can get your MBA and your MSA all within that 2-year period. So a lot of programs may be just the Masters of Sports Administration degree. So over a 2-year time period, you can get the dual degree for the on-campus program. And for those that even the parents that may be in the sports industry or looking to get that next degree, you could look at the professional MSA and work full time at the same way. So there's no doubt about it. The undergraduate program is the best when it comes to having the interaction with the graduate program. But as we say in the graduate program, it was the first one created, and it's still the one. Is I think the tagline we used for a while there, because it is the #1 rated overall program, both the MSA, the Masters of Sports Administration program, which is within the College of Business, which again is very unique to a sports management degree. It's in the College of Business, so it's a business degree coming out of Ohio U. But it was the first program founded for sports administration education. So it's been able to build up. We've talked about the alumni and the directory, the number of people that are in executive positions and how the alumni network works. But I know my daughter's already looking at how she can become a double Bobcat, get that undergraduate degree and go right into the graduate program. The opportunities that Avery even talked about in the undergraduate program that you have. I mean, my daughter, as I talked about, was the intern for social media for the hockey program. She'll be a sophomore this coming year and becomes the director of it, and we'll be hiring interns, to help her this year. So again, those unbelievable opportunities that you get at Ohio U, not only in the undergraduate program, but those opportunities exist with the graduate program, and for those that are working full time, the professional program. So not that students would want to hear this, but parents, you could take a professional degree while your students get the undergraduate degree at the same time. It's a great thing about Ohio U Sports Administration.
Yeah, have mom or dad in class with them. Wouldn't that be great? So there was a great question that came from Ian Brown in the chat, and Patrick, you hit it on the head. Heather, can you speak a little bit about some of the careers that people can achieve with this degree?
Oh, you can take it wherever you want to take it, to be quite honest with you. We have alums, you just heard about these different segments of the sport industry, and I think everyone's pretty, comfortable and familiar with things like our more traditional sports, such as the NFL and different roles that make the business side of teams like that run. What you may be less familiar with are things that are not as, front and center on ESPN every day, right? I've mentioned esport a few times because it's just taking off in a way that makes me think the job market for sport business graduates is going to be there. It is at a high growth stage, and there are a lot of very, very talented people already working in that space. But I think we're going to continue to see a need for additional folks with a sport business background that also understand gaming and esport, graphics, tech, all of those kind of things. And at Ohio, we've actually created an undergraduate certificate in esports. So you can now leave Ohio without adding any courses to your overall degree plan and have a certificate in esports. It's pretty cool. Other areas that I think are incredibly interesting are things such as different aspects of sports journalism, broadcasting, that kind of tie sport and communications together. There's also entire global companies that do things like take a brand such as Visa credit cards and help that brand get exposure for their Olympic Games sponsorship. And so marketing agencies are actually there. It's so hard to explain, and that's why it's not common knowledge that there's these massive marketing agencies help to leverage visibility and revenue for very traditional products, but at sporting events and through sport, right? Think about NASCAR and all of those logos on the car. It's more than just the logo. It's everything that goes into that. So people build entire, very, very successful careers around that space in sport marketing that don't work for a traditional team.
Well, and
Go
to
ahead.
follow up on that a little bit too, as we talked about the graduate programs, the great thing about all the different segments, as Heather's talked about, that you can get, that are out there in the sports industry, as a commissioner, somebody that's looking to hire positions. The great thing about the program is all the diversity you can have in the position. So if I need somebody that's worked in compliance or development and fundraising or marketing and sponsorships or game management, I can call Ohio U. Know there's graduate students that are graduating that have worked in those areas that are highly sought after, as well as undergrads that may be looking, that have got that experience as well. So again, there's so many diverse positions in the sports world. The esport thing is exploding, and to have Ohio U be at the forefront of that education as well just goes to show again how great the Ohio U program is.
To expand a little bit, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to add one more quick thing. Yep. And that is, it's crazy that you have to start to think about, when you're bringing in so many credits to college in many cases, like what you're going to do next. So before you're even come in as a freshman, you really do need to have some conversations with family and kind of think about yourself. Like, are you looking for opportunities down the road academically within your 4 years to get other credentials while you're in school? And one of the other things that we will start to see at other institutions, but I do feel like Ohio is ahead of the curve in this respect as well. So right now, beginning this year officially, there are pathways. While during your undergraduate program, you can actually earn a graduate certificate if you're on pace. So there's criteria you need to hit from an academic status, but you can actually be undergraduate still and be allowed to take graduate classes. And when you graduate, so you could leave with an undergraduate degree in sport management, an eSport certificate, and a graduate certificate in marketing. And I mean, gosh, Dan would hire that person, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely, I'd be looking at that.
So to the point of all of these wonderful opportunities, one thing I can say about Ohio University is that sport administration and the College of Business do not sit in a silo on campus. We collaborate with so many different areas around the university. So to Ian's question about, I want to get into sport journalism, we have a ton of students from the Scripps School of Communications that come over and get a sport management concentration. Dan's daughter is working in media right now, right, with a sport management degree as her plan. Avery, I believe that you have more credentials under your belt, correct?
Yeah.
Was it Shea? Did you?
Yep.
Okay, so can you talk about the Shea Sales Center?
Yeah. So what's really cool is the Shea Sales Center is basically a sales training club on campus. It's one of the bigger ones for sure. And what's great about it is they have so many resources to help you understand what sales is about. And I think all of us, even I know when I was in high school, I'd always hear sales, sales, sales. Someone works in sales, or I'm interested in working in sales. I didn't know what that meant personally, as I now work in sales. But it was a really cool opportunity to take some classes to understand kind of not only what sales is about, but also understanding how to potentially be successful at it, what it takes to do it, learning all the little things. But then also for myself, bringing that together with sport and understanding what that means, and really seeing that sales is more than just, something physical. It's really selling a dream, or it's selling, an experience. And I know for me, I had my biggest opportunity understanding that with working as an intern with the Olympic Committee, Olympic and Paralympic Committee out in Colorado Springs, Colorado, is that's what it's all about. Being able to talk to different people who love Team USA and love the entire Olympic movement and understanding how that all goes together. But getting the sales certificate was a really cool opportunity. And just also, another certification to understand, to bring to the table when looking for opportunities, being able to look at things from that sales angle, coupled with everything I've been able to do in the classroom as well.
Thank you. So we're getting close to the end of time here. So, as you can see that we could probably talk about the sport administration program here at OU for 4 hours. We're tremendously proud of it. This was started back in the 1950s through a vision in Major League Baseball by Walter O'Malley, the owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers and Los Angeles Dodgers, where we have a deep history, we have a deep alumni base and wonderful faculty and amazing alumni. So if you have any questions about our program, I'm sure any of us would be happy to chat with you about it. I see that Dr. Lawrence has put her email in the chat. I just popped mine in there, strode@ohio.edu. Please come visit us in Athens when it's permissible. Set up a time to chat with us. There's a ton of opportunities here, and we would love to have you as a Bobcat.
Thank you so much. I learned a lot. It's fascinating just how much the program has changed and evolved since I was even in school. So it made me proud alumnus. Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you very much, Dan. Avery, awesome stuff, man. If I can help you, please let me know. Congratulations on everything. You sound like you're a very busy person during your time at OU.
Absolutely.
Hope you had fun on Court Street at some point as well. Dr. Lawrence, thank you very much for sharing as well. So students, thank you so much. Couldn't provide a higher recommendation than I can for OU. So consider it, and also once again, use me as a resource if you have any questions whatsoever. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Experience and collaboration done.
Thank you.
Great to see everybody.
Thank you to all of our panelists and to all of our students. Hope you learned something, and OU, oh yeah. All right, thanks, guys.
OU, oh yeah.
See you, buddy.
See ya.